Programme Rendez-Vous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Comment tu t'appelles? Voilà le mot. Je m'appelle. Comment tu t'appelles? Wanji.
Hey, Natukunda. Hello. French time. Yo, what's up? It's French time.
Bonjour à tous. Comment ça va?
Interactive teaching of French at Makerere University Research Project. Johnny, honey, rendezvous. Rendezvous. So don't miss out on your favorite French learning show every Sunday from 8:15 to 9 p.m. here on UBC Radio.
Good evening, dear listeners. Bonsoir tout le monde. Nous sommes ici aujourd'hui encore pour le programme Rendez-Vous. Rendez-Vous.
Rendez-vous.
Rendezvous.
Rendez-vous.
We are here together with today for the same program, Rendezvous, our educative program for French, which is helping us to learn French and to make French a more interactive language as it is. Thank you. Today is our second lesson, leçon 2. Je suis le professeur pour aujourd'hui. I'm the teacher. I'll be taking you through today's lesson. My name is Joanne Abigaba Mabungo. As we did last week, we learned the greetings in French. La semaine passée, nous avons fait les salutations en français. Dear listeners, I hope you remember and you have maybe the notes that we took down last week. You remember what we did last week in our program. I will just, to do a simple recap, I will ask the learners I have here, Malcolm, Sarah, Joella, and Daniel, to remind us of what they remember from last week's class or last week's lesson. Anything small you could remember? Oui.
I remember bonjour.
Oui, bonjour. Qu'est-ce que c'est bonjour? What is bonjour? When do we use bonjour?
We use bonjour in the morning. We use bonjour in the morning to greeting an individual.
Yes, for greeting an individual, greeting a group of people. Mainly we use it in the morning. Merci, Malcolm. Oui, Sarah, et toi?
Ça va mal.
Ça va mal. She remembers we said something like ça va mal, which is?
I'm not fine.
I'm not fine. Merci, Sarah. Et toi, Joella?
Comment ça va?
Comment ça va? Which is?
How are you?
How are you? And how would you respond, Joella, to comment ça va?
Ça va bien, merci.
Merci. Dear listeners, I hope we are following. Malcolm remembers that we did bonjour, which is used in the morning to mean good morning when greeting an individual or greeting a group of people. And Sarah remembers ça va mal. And then Joella remembers comment ça va, which means how are you. And she says you can respond by saying ça va bien.
Bien.
Ça va bien, which means I am fine. Merci. Et toi, Daniel?
I remember last week that we learned the names of how if an individual is
Yes,
close.
please be louder, Daniel. Oui.
We learned that how to give the names in French of an individual who is close or not close.
Yes, thank you so much. We talked about the close family members. Could you remind us of maybe one or two of them?
Papa and Mama.
Papa et Maman. Merci beaucoup, Daniel. Dear listeners, I hope we can try to remember what we did in the previous lesson. So since I'm impressed that you can remember, I hope you have been practicing throughout this week and greeting your family members at least in French every day. So today, we are doing something a little different. Aujourd'hui, nous allons faire quelque chose différent. Aujourd'hui, je vais introduire les jours de la semaine. That is, days of the week. Can you repeat les jours? Répétez.
Les jours
de la semaine. Répétez. Les jours de la semaine. Répétez. Les jours de la semaine. Dear listeners, I hope we are together. For the sake of our listeners who cannot see what we have here, les jours de la semaine is written les, L-E-S, that's one word, jours, J-O-U-R-S, jours, de, D-E, la, L-A, semaine, S-E-M-A-I-N-E, days of the week. Les jours de la semaine. I hope we are on the same page. Donc, nous allons d'abord apprendre la prononciation des mots qui sont là, qui sont les jours de la semaine. We are going to try to learn the pronunciation of the days of the week that we have here. Dear listeners, I will guide you through this as we go together. Nous allons commencer avec lundi. We are going to start with Monday, which is lundi. I will read them out as we repeat. You repeat after me. Lundi.
Lundi,
Lundi.
lundi,
Mardi.
mardi,
Mardi.
mardi,
Mercredi.
mercredi,
Mercredi.
mercredi,
Jeudi.
jeudi,
Jeudi.
jeudi,
Vendredi.
vendredi,
Vendredi.
vendredi,
Samedi.
samedi,
Samedi.
samedi,
Dimanche.
dimanche,
Dimanche.
dimanche,
Encore une fois, once more. Lundi.
lundi,
Mardi.
mardi,
Mercredi.
mercredi,
Jeudi.
jeudi,
Vendredi.
vendredi,
Samedi.
samedi,
Dimanche.
dimanche.
We need to know the spelling, and for the sake of our listeners who are out there, they need to know how we write lundi, mardi. Yes, and as we note down Malcolm, Sarah, we are noting down as I'm helping our dear listeners there. Lundi is written L. Can you please note down? So Sarah, can you help our dear listeners to write lundi?
Lundi, L-U-N-D-I.
Merci Sarah. Who can help them with mardi? Oui, Daniel.
Mardi, M-A-R-D-I.
Merci. Merci, Daniel. Can help them with mercredi?
Mercredi, M-E-R-C-R-I-R-E-D-I. Mercredi.
Merci, Malcolm. Mercredi. Jeudi. Joella is helping you to write jeudi.
Jeudi, J-E-U-D-I.
Merci beaucoup, Joella. Vendredi. Vendredi. Oui, Sarah.
Vendredi, V-E-N-D-R-E-D-I.
Merci. Vendredi. Merci, Sarah. I hope we have noted vendredi. Oui. Samedi. Daniel is helping us to note samedi.
Samedi, S-A-M-E-D-I.
Merci, Daniel. I hope we have noted samedi with the correct spelling. The last one, dimanche.
Dimanche, D-I-M-A-N-C-H-E. Dimanche.
Merci beaucoup, Malcolm. Dimanche. I hope we have noted all the days of the week. A few tips on the pronunciation. A few tips on the pronunciation. In French, when we have letter U followed by letter N, for those two letters, we have the sound. We have the sound that we are going to learn and repeat. The sound is on. Can we repeat? On. Répétez. On. On. So this helps us to remember that when we say lundi, it is U-N. L-U-N-D-I. Répétez. Lundi.
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 Let's look at jeudi. When we look at jeudi, we have a combination of E and U. and in French, the combination of E and U gives us the sound E. Can you repeat? E. Dear listeners, we are doing the pronunciation. We are helping each other to learn the pronunciation, and we are learning the sound E, which comes from a combination of letter E and U in French. Répétez. E. So can we read the whole word now? Jeudi. Répétez.
Jeudi.
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 Merci. Vendredi. When we look at vendredi, we have V-E-N. E-N, the combination of letter E and N in French, gives us the sound on. Dear listeners, we are learning the sound on. Répétez.
On.
On. On.
Répétez.
On. I hope we notice that this sound is not exactly oral. When we are producing this sound, the mouth is not fully open and the sound is in the vocals. On. Répétez. I hope we are following. Dear listeners, can we now read the word in full? Vendredi. Répétez.
Vendredi.
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 When it comes to samedi is simple. The reason why we tend to somehow ignore the E is because that E doesn't have any symbol. But we have some people who would pronounce it as samedi. So don't think it's a different word. It's still the same. And then I would like to encourage us, dear listeners, that pronunciation is got through practice. We have to keep on repeating these. We have to keep on repeating them as often as possible. We go to dimanche. Dimanche, D-I-M. So we have a combination of A-N. A-N. A-N in French gives us the sound on. Répétez. Dear listeners, we are learning the sound on, which comes from a combination of letter A and N. Répétez. On. So can we read the word in full? Dimanche.
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 We can go back to mercredi. Mercredi. M-E-R. We have the M-E-R. The E-R, which is pronounced as air. Répétez.
Air.
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 We notice that in French, R is a very strong letter of the alphabet, so that's why we have to emphasize on the letter R. Air. Répétez.
Air.
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 Dear listeners, don't get discouraged. Even if you don't get it today, you'll get it with time. The more you practice the air, usually some people tend to say it's so hard, but it's not hard. The more you practice, the better you get at it. Mercredi. Répétez.
Mercredi.
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 Merci beaucoup. Alors, we are going to, of course, now, I will ask the learners here, Malcolm and his colleagues, Joella, Sarah, Danielle, to try and pronounce them without my help, so that we see how far we've gone, and then we can continue. Merci. We can use the order that we have. Dear listeners, we are trying to pronounce the days of the week once more. Malcolm.
Lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche.
Très bien. Applaudissez Malcolm. Can you please clap for Malcolm? Dear listeners, I hope you've heard how good he has done it. Oui, Sarah.
Lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche.
Can we clap for Sarah? Merci beaucoup, Sarah. I would like to correct something small. Sarah, you're doing very well, but just on the first two, okay? I'm reminding you of the sound that is produced from letter U and letter N. Oui. Dear listeners, we are remembering what we said about the sound on. Can you repeat the sound, all of us, together?
Or.
So the word is lundi. Répétez.
Lundi.
And then mardi, we have AR. The combination of AR, which is R. Répétez.
R.
To give us mardi. Can we all repeat?
Mardi.
Merci. Joëlla, c'est ton tour.
Lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche.
Merci beaucoup. Merci Joëlla. Applaudissez Joëlla. Dear listeners, I hope we are doing the song. I hope we are doing the same. Sorry, we repeat. We keep on pronouncing them as many times as possible. We now have Daniel.
Lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche.
Très bien, Daniel. Très bien. Merci beaucoup. Dear listeners, I hope we've all done the same. And we can now try to pronounce the days of the week. Remember, we said that it's not something that you can learn in one day or just once. Il faut continuer à prononcer ces mots plusieurs fois. Il faut répéter et répéter plusieurs fois. Even when you are not in class, even when we are not in this session, you can still keep on repeating them for the purpose of pronunciation. Merci. Alors, nous allons utiliser ces jours de la semaine pour, comme j'ai dit, like I said, this is not the end. When we have this lesson here, we can still access our lessons on podcast, on Facebook. If you send us an email address, we can forward the lessons to you because they are recorded. Then you can be able to repeat and repeat as many times as possible as you practice more. Merci. On continue alors. Nous allons utiliser les jours de la semaine pour parler des activités quotidiennes. We are going to use the days of the week that we've learned to try and talk about our daily activities. Qu'est-ce que nous faisons tous les jours? Daily activities in French, dear listeners. Les activités quotidiennes. Répétez.
Les activités quotidiennes.
Répétez.
Les activités quotidiennes.
We are writing les activités quotidiennes. Can you please write together? Les, L-I-S, activité, A-C-T-I-V-I-T-E-S, activité. Quotidienne, Q-U-O-T-I-D-I-E-N-E-S, quotidienne. Je répète, les, L-I-S, activité, A-C-T-I-V-I-T-E-S, activité. Quotidienne, Q-U-O-T-I-D-I-E-N-E-S. Fini noté?
Oui.
Vous avez fini?
Oui.
We finished noting that down. We need to make sure we learn the pronunciation. We repeat it again. Les activités quotidiennes. Répétez.
Les activités quotidiennes.
Donc, là-bas, il y a quelque chose. Dear listeners, you have noticed that I'm combining the les with activité as I read. I say les activités. Reason is because in French, when we have the letter S, which is a consonant, appearing between two vowel letters, it loses that sound and it gains the sound z, and then we tend to combine it to the word that follows. That's why we are saying les activités. Are we together? Yes. Oui. On dit les activités quotidiennes. So that's the reason why I seem to read it, to pronounce it as one word, but they're two different words. Donc, nous allons catégoriser ces activités en 3. We are going to categorize these words into 3 different categories. Nous allons catégoriser ces activités en 3. Activities that we normally do in the morning, activities that we normally do in the afternoon, and those that we usually do in the evening. But we need to learn these words. In the morning, we say le matin. Répétez. Le matin. Répétez. Le matin. This is how we write it. Can we write le matin? L-E, that's le, matin, M-A-T-I-N. I hope we have got it, listeners. L'après-midi. Répétez. L'après-midi. L'après-midi means in the afternoon. We are writing l'après-midi. L apostrophe A P R E S hyphen M I D I. L'après-midi. Répétez. L'après-midi. I hope we have got the spelling, the correct spelling. Finally, we have le soir. Répétez. Le soir. Le soir. Sarah, can you help our dear listeners to write le soir?
Le soir. L-E, that is los. Lo.
Oui, le.
S-O-I-R. Soir.
Merci Sarah, merci beaucoup. Oui, donc nous avons le matin, l'après-midi, le soir. Le matin, in the morning, l'après-midi, in the afternoon, le soir, in the evening. Oui. Par exemple, ici, je peux dire le matin, je me réveille. Le matin, je me réveille. Can we read together? Le matin, je me réveille. In the morning, I wake up. In the morning, I wake up. Malcolm is going to help our listeners to write je me réveille.
Je me réveille. J-E for je. M-E for J-E space M-E for je me. Then R-E-V-E-I-L-L-E. Je me réveille.
Merci Malcolm. I hope we have written je me réveille. Next, le matin, je me lave. Répétez. Le matin, je me lave. In the morning, I bathe. Who can help our listeners to write je me lave? Oui, Joella.
Je me lave. J-E M-E love L-A-V-E.
Merci.
Je me lave.
Merci Joella. I hope we have noted it. L'après-midi, je fais mes devoirs. Répétez. L'après-midi, je fais mes devoirs. L'après-midi, je fais mes devoirs. Daniel, can we help our listeners to write je fais mes devoirs?
Je fais mes devoirs. J-E for J.
For je, oui, merci.
F-A-I-S for face. M-E-S for mess. D-E-V-O-I-I-S for devoir.
Merci. The last one was not very clear. D-E-V-O-I-R-S. Devoir. That is devoir. Merci. Je fais mes devoirs. Okay. Finally, the last one for in the evening. One example. Le soir, je mange. Répétez. Le soir, je mange. Le soir, je mange. Sarah, can help our listeners to write je mange.
Je mange. G-E. Mange is M-A-N-G-E.
Merci. Le soir, je mange. Merci, Sarah. So, dear listeners, we are going back to the days of the week. We are going to learn a simple song, very short We have one more here, which is je prie. Je prie, can we repeat? Je prie, which is J-E for Jo, and then prie, P-R-I-E. Okay, so we are going to learn this simple song just once. Okay, today we have learned the days of the week. Okay, we make the full sentence. Le soir, je prie. Répétez.
Le soir, je prie.
Répétez. Le soir, je prie. And we had already written je prie. Okay? We are now going back to learn a song that will help us remember the days of the week in French so that we don't forget. It's a very simple song. I'll sing through once. Dear listeners, we are listening to the song. Lundi, mardi, mercredi, mercredi.
Question.
Oui, question.
What
Sorry for
is-
the interruption.
What is P-N-E?
Somebody is asking a question. What is pre? What's the meaning of pre? Oui, Malcolm?
Praying.
To pray. So when we say le soir je prie, it means to pray. I pray. Merci beaucoup. So we are going to the song. Lundi, mardi, mercredi,
Mercredi, mercredi, lundi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche.
Can we sing along together, dear listeners? Lundi, mardi, mercredi, mercredi, mercredi,
jeudi, vendredi, samedi,
dimanche. Lundi,
mardi,
mercredi, 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 jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche. Lundi, mardi, mercredi, 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 jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche. Lundi, mardi, mercredi, 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 jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much. I hope we have learned something today. As we conclude today, I'd like to leave you with a simple exercise and devoir exercise. Dear listeners, pay attention to our task for the week from what we have learned today. I'll request you to construct 5 sentences in French talking about your daily activities, what you do every day. 5 sentences in French talking about your daily activities. You can use the guide that we used of le matin, l'après-midi, le soir to separate the activities that you do in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. Okay? Yes, and please, let's not forget that I said we can still access our lessons on podcast, Facebook, Twitter, at Rendezvous Riff 2. Rendezvous is written as RENDEZVOUS. That's Rendezvous. Riff is RIF, and then 2 is number 2. Rendezvous Riff 2. And please always remember to tune in every Sunday. Always remember to tune in every Sunday on UBC Radio Uganda, which we can access at the following frequencies. For Kampala, we access UBC at 98.0 FM. That's for Kampala and the surrounding districts. Arua and the surrounding districts at 97.4 FM. Lira and the surroundings, that is 99.4 FM. Thank you so much for supporting us and for listening in. Rendezvous, oye!
Rendezvous, oye!
Rendezvous, oye!
Rendezvous, oye!
Learn French, speak to the world. Learn French, speak to the world. Have a good evening. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Programme Rendez-vous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Comment tu t'appelles? Walalou, je m'appelle. Comment tu t'appelles? Wanji,
Hey, Natukunda, Okelo, French time. Yo, what's up? French time.
Bonjour à tous. Comment ça va?
Interactive teaching of French at Makerere University Research Project. Johnny, honey, rendezvous. Rendezvous. So don't miss out on your favorite French learning show every Sunday from 8:15 to 9 p.m. here on UBC Radio.